had a lower self-esteem, like a lack of appreciation and a love for myself, really. And ultimately, that ties into my whole story, because the last person that I had sex with was from Tinder. And I had gone over to his place, really with no intention to sleep with him. And I went over there, and he kind of, started being pushy, and there was a feeling about it. And I hadn't intended to, but he got, for lack of a better word, a bit manipulative. And, was very touchy and very, grotesque. And we started making out, and I would be like, I don't know how far I want this to go. And he started kissing my neck and shit, and I was when my body's not physically into it, like any natural lubricant, it dries up. And I really tried to get into it mentally, I really did. But my body was reacting, to how I really felt about it on a subconscious level. And I told him from the start that I didn't want oral sex to be any part of the activities for that night because of this experience. And it was something that I was a little bit touchy on. And he was like, okay, yeah. But eventually it wasn't working. He couldn't finish. I couldn't either. And he told me that he wasn't used to not getting oral. And he made me feel bad about it. He made me feel like shit. And I cried. And he said, oh, it's not your fault, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I wasn't ready, and blah, 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 and all this bullshit. And I don't think he meant any of his actions out of malice. I don't think that he had set out to take advantage of me that night. We were really just on two different pages on what was okay, and I was too afraid to voice my honest opinion. But I really wish that I had had the confidence to speak up. Because if we had established proper communication from the beginning, things probably would have gone very differently. And when I started seeing the person that I'm seeing right now, he didn't immediately, want sex. And it was pretty chaste. And I just took a step back. And that made me realize how I was treating myself. It made me think about how I should be taking care of myself. And it forced me to rethink what had happened that night. And I want to have the confidence to be comfortable, because I deserve that. And I feel like whenever I'm on Tinder, and I've recently been put off to Tinder, I think that when you go on these apps, things are expected of you. We're also involved in social media that we don't have human connection. Tinder is like, do you like or do you not like? You're behind a screen and you say, yes, I'm attracted. You match, and okay, there's a mutual attraction. And immediately it's like, when do you want to meet in person? You talk for a while, but then that talk means nothing, And later you're just going to sleep with them. And nobody cares what kind of person you are. But it's crazy that should be such an intimate act saved for people that you care about. And I feel like it just makes it so much less than it is. Okay. So we were 17, and we were just curious. You know how kids are. They're just curious about everything, especially their bodies. And we weren't together necessarily, but we obviously liked each other. And we used to hang out in the backyard because he had this nature trail in his backyard that led deep into the woods. And we used to go back there. We used to kind of make out. And this one time we went back there, he took a beer with us. He got beer from his fridge. It was his parents' beer, you know, but I didn't really want to drink because I didn't want to do that in high school. I just didn't want to drink. And he drank a lot. And he got drunk. And we were kissing. And he kept trying to have sex with me. And I kept saying no. And I told him that he was drunk and he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. And we were laying on his blanket in the woods. And it was this blanket that he had brought out for us. And I remember we were kissing. And he started to put his hand around my neck as if he were going to choke me or something. And I tried to pry off his hand, and he was like, "You're gonna do this." And I said, "You're hurting me." But he didn't listen. And I could see him like fucking around with his belt and trying to take his pants off. And the next thing I know, he's lifting up my skirt, and I tried to kick him off. But he would tighten around my neck. I don't know. I eventually just gave up, and I let it happen. I just let it happen because I thought he was going to choke me to death right there. And when he stopped, I punched him in the face and I ran away. I screamed at him, and I ran into the woods, and I didn't walk out for like an hour. And you know what's weird? I didn't cry. I was just so angry because my virginity meant so much to me in high school. And to have that taken away from me, especially like that, you know, that's just not fair. I deserved better.